Today is June 12th, 2019. I want to do a quick Habit Garden update. I'm in my greenhouse, and yeah, that's rain. So it's starting to rain. It's been actually a pretty nice day. It rained a little bit overnight, about maybe 1/8 of an inch, not much, maybe less than 1/8. Just a few gallons accumulated in my rain barrels, not a lot. It didn't fill them by any means. So now we're getting a little bit of rain here in the afternoon. It's about 4:20 p.m. and so we'll see if it's enough to fill up the rain barrels. It's slowing down now. It just started. So here, let's go through. Let me show you what's happening in the greenhouse. I'll talk a little bit, and we'll see if we make it outside. So we have a basil plant that I was able to pot up, and looking nice. I planted out a couple of peppers this last week, and then I've got a couple of peppers, another basil, another pepper. I think that's basil. So anyway, I got a mixture of plants in here. Now, if you saw my videos during the week, you noticed that I put out a ragweed versus marigolds video, just a short one. And it turns out that I had potted up a whole bunch of ragweed, which is embarrassing, I guess. But anyway, that's life. When they're real young, they look. But look, I was so upset with that I got out my marigold seed and planted some. And look, it says mixed flowers, but these are mixed marigolds. So I planted them on the 7th, and today's the 12th. So what is that, 5 days? And they're already popping up. Now, these are other marigold seeds. These are yellow marigolds. And look, nothing. So that's not good. And these are other marigold seeds. These are really tall marigolds. They're called crackerjack marigolds. And they haven't popped up yet. So we'll see. And now, why is this mixed marigold doing so well? These are the same seeds, I think, in here, because it says marigold mix. So anyway, now I have started. Now these containers here, I think are going to be one of my favorite for starting seeds. And you can see what I did on the bottom. You see those holes? Now these containers here in America, we can get like with mushrooms and things. These were mushrooms I had purchased, and I collected them over the years. They're nice little containers, but this year I put holes in the bottom. I'm going to use them to start seeds. I'm using the fire method. I'm using screwdrivers, heating up screwdrivers and punching holes in the plastic, and I'm very excited about that. And as you can see, I started in on some other containers. Even this one is you see, these plastics here are much better than let's say this plastic. You see how flimsy these are? These are not, of course, don't look at that, nothing's growing in there. And I put well, maybe something's popping up right there, but a lot of that has to do with old seed, and it looks like the media I'm using. But look, remember those tomato plants I planted some time ago? A lot of them are just now starting to germinate. So I don't know, well, it's not a lot, but there's a few that are just popping up just now, and it's been a bit. And here's another. Look at this one. I planted this one also. This is some bok choy seed that I got from my sister-in-law. I had I'd given her some seed, and I don't know what I did, but anyway, I took down some plants, I think, and she gave me this. She said, in the cool time of the year, you're supposed to grow it. But anyway, I'm trying to grow some of the seed now, and look, it's popping up. So again, this was, when did I plant this? 6/9. So this is even less days. Now, I'm, as you can see, I'm putting a container underneath my containers, and then I'm putting, for one thing, this way I have a really nice air gap, and when it drips through, I catch the water. So I've just put a little container. You can see that air gap. So I'm holding them up. I was doing this with some sunflower seeds, and then I thought, that's a good way of not making a mess. So that's what I've started doing. And the thing about, and I like, look at this. Now that is a soda bottle that I cut the bottom off of, and look how it fits in. The thing about the soda bottles, which I like, you see how the bottom is raised? So when you have them on top of there, there's always an air gap. A lot of times the containers, like you see these containers right here, they will drain, but they fit right on, snug on the floor, on the container, and on the plastic. So I think this allows more airflow when you have it on. Look at this. These are 2-liter containers. I cut off the bottoms, and I'm finding I like this a lot, because if you, at least in America, you can see this was a sour cream container, and I love sour cream. But I put some holes in the bottom, and that's a very strong plastic there. And now I'm going to start, I'm going to use this to, like when I want to put in, like say 10 or so seeds and pop them up and then plant them on. That's my strategy now. And look, a soda container. If you collect those soda containers, after a month or two, you'll find that you have a number of them. And, or you can go. So I've been doing that with soda containers. I've also been doing that with milk carton containers for the larger. Oh, and you can see I'm collecting this water, and I'm just reusing the water in another container because it should be full of nutrients. Now I've already watered these once today, so I don't really need to water these flowers, but they will, there, see? And this is some seeds I've just started. I have not labeled it. Oh, well, that's actually the rice. I think I have a failed rice experiment. But anyway, I thought I would go ahead and put it underneath some dirt and see if it works. I had that in, you see, here, I had taken some of my brown rice and put it in a baggie and damped some paper towels. I had 2 of these, and I just took one of these and put it in that container. So we'll see. In fact, I've now convinced myself I need to buy some raw rice that has a little bit raw, that hasn't been just raw, hasn't been polished in any way. So that's kind of what's happening in the greenhouse. You can see now, believe it or not, I had this door shut overnight because it was raining some. And then by the time I came out to check the greenhouse, it was actually 115 degrees, maybe it was 114 degrees in here. But then I opened the door and it went down fairly rapidly to about 100. But now it's 78 because of the cloud cover and the rain that's happening. Can you hear the rain again? Yeah, I'm sure you can. So I'm finally getting the basil quantities that I was wanting. I actually have basil. I could give away basil now if my friends wanted a basil plant, because I have other basil outside that's growing, not just these plants here. So I struggled so hard to get my basil to grow this year, and then finally. And you'll never guess what this is. Well, maybe you will, because you might be able to read that. Lavender. I had a container outside which I thought nothing was happening, and I was starting to clean out everything, and then I noticed these very small plants, and I smelled it, and they just smell great. You know, I have never grown lavender before, and it was just now popping up, even though I had started this back in April 1st. So April, May, June. I didn't think the seed was any good, but I guess it needed hot weather, and then it started to grow. So, and that's lavender. So I got looks like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 8 little lavender plants started. And if they start to grow, that's awesome. Of course, you people out there who grow this stuff all the time are probably laughing, but still, for me, it's a big deal. I know over the years I've tried to plant lavender and get it to grow a number of times. Whoa, whoa, whoa. No, that's not I don't think that's a tree. It's something else growing. I still have hopes that my figs may pop up. Okay, that's the greenhouse for you. And the other thing is there's no reason not to start seeds at this time of year. And you know, if there's something you're wanting to grow, like marigolds, there's no reason why I can't start new seeds and get new plants going. I mean, it's later than I'd normally do that, but I don't have to be defeated by something. You know, all the plants I thought I had, I didn't really have. Oh, I think that's other lavender and more. So maybe I have 10 plants of lavender. We'll see if they grow tall and strong. Okay. So you can see the rain falling. So the temperature has really dropped outside. It's actually feeling, I would say, in the 60s now. Tonight is supposed to be in the 50s. In the greenhouse it's 77. And outside a little while ago it was that temperature, around 78. But it's, now that the storm clouds have come in, the temperature has dropped. If I get an umbrella, maybe I'll walk around and show you some things. See that basil? That was actually where my lavender was growing. So I redid that whole pot. And you see the 2 types of lettuces? I've been eating salads this week a bit and throwing in some mint into salads. And that's been fun. So, oh, it looks like the rain's letting up a little bit. But it seems to go. I wanted to show you the okra. From this is like 6 days ago. I replanted the okra seed last Thursday, and within that time, it's popped up. So now I think this is mostly the old okra. But then, you know, okra always needs warm. It seems like my okra always pops up when it gets hot, not earlier. Or if it does pop up, it won't really grow until it gets real hot. The corn's looking beautiful. And you can see the little corns in there. I had replanted some corn seed because it seemed like about half of my stalks. Oh, here's how that is. I was weeding a little bit earlier. And now if you remember my last update, I had on this section of the garden, I had all of those wannabe marigolds. They were ragweed. I finally figured out what they were. They were not marigolds at all. So I pulled them all up. Now that right there is a little cherry tomato. Oh no, I'm sorry. There's the little cherry tomato. I think this is an ox heart. So one of my watermelon is doing good. Transplanted those lettuces into that container. Whatever was planted there wasn't growing. Now I have a bowl of peas inside, a pretty good sized bowl. Maybe, a quart or so of peas that I have gathered. And you can see the cucumber plant is very healthy there. You see them? And I got nice flowers. And of course the tomatoes. Now, I've saw some green tomatoes finally. Let's see. I don't see them right now. Oh, there's one. Can you see those, guys? There's a couple of green tomatoes in here. So finally. And here, some green tomatoes. Can you see them in there? So we'll have lots here in a week or two. Well, anyway, soon. We're going to have lots and lots. So all of these are going to seed. I'm going to have so many seeds. And once they get this way, remember I transplanted these guys? Once they get this way, you can't really use the, it becomes very woody, whatever is there. And I think these are mostly leeks. So I'm going to have a ton of leek seeds, and I guess it'll be next year. But look, can you see those? Yellow squash. I could actually pick one of those today. I've picked a couple of squash, zucchini and some yellow squash. And that watermelon I transplanted just a few days ago, because the last one, I didn't point it out when I was in the greenhouse, but it had all the leaves eaten off by something, which that's not nice. So I don't think it's going to recover. But oh, there's a ragweed underneath there. I see a ragweed. But anyway, I recognize them now. Now around my property, there's probably maybe 10 real marigolds, in front and backyard. I was counting them. There's about 5. Oh, supposed to. Anyway, I bought that at the dollar store. But actually, it'll keep some of the birds out of the possibly. Now I don't know why that leaf is dying on me. So I don't like that. But I haven't seen bugs per se. It may, I don't know. I did spray that with soap and baking soda. That may have actually killed it. The baking soda. I saw somebody talking about doing that, and I added baking soda to my soap this time. So that may be a mistake. Some watermelon coming up. That's looking nice. And that, you see those rutabagas underneath there? So I've got some beautiful, I think they're called purple American rutabagas. Can you see that guy? So that's going to be a beautiful rutabaga. And again, the peas are doing very good. And the pole beans, you can start to see the leaves up high, really starting to grow. So in a month or so I'll have pole beans. Now I have a few small beans. I picked a handful of beans that I ate from the backyard mostly. And I saw some beans on those, whoa, my umbrella having some trouble. Now I don't know what to make of these. You see how the onions have come over? I don't like that because I thought they would get bigger. So I did pull one of them out. These are the Texas sweet onions. But I was hoping they would get bigger, maybe something, I don't know. And of course these are the transplanted. I've been eating a few onions. I take one of my onions and put it in every salad I make, because I have a lot of nice onions here. Anyway, I'm excited on how the progression of the onions. Here, let's go through. Oh. I do love that. There's a couple of flowers on that pole bean. So the rain has teetered off for now. It only rained a little bit. In fact, when I started my video, it started raining, it seemed. These are basically extra plants. You can see how much I had emptied this earlier. So there's, you know, not even a 1/16 of an inch of rain. So not much, but it sure dropped the temperature. I've already picked a couple of these yellow squash, and look, that's looking nice. So I need to come out and pick, if not today, tomorrow. You can see the weeds in there, but I'm just excited to get the squash. Now you can see that this curly mustard has mostly gone to seed here. I never did thin it out really, but you can dig it in, and that'll make a green manure. So I'll probably collect some of that seed in a month or two, whenever it dries out. Now I did dig this mustard in, and I came out and it looks like I planted 2 peppers and 1 basil plant right there. You see them? And I'll come back out. You saw those other peppers in the greenhouse. I'll plant some of those out here too. We'll see how they do. Well, that's a nice nasturtium. And then I don't know what this other plant is. If you guys know, leave a note at the bottom. It's a very thick leaf plant, and I've grown that in my garden for some years, and this year I dug up the plant and split it up, and now I don't know, I made 10 or so plants out of my one big one. Been giving some of them away, but I don't know the name. Okay, that's pretty much it, except here. Of course, we talked about the catnip, and look, that's put on a lot of bulk, that catnip has. And it looks like the thyme it's making it, but it's not. I mean, I don't see the extreme growth, but there are a couple of flowers. Now look at this marigold. Now that, so there's at least 2 marigolds I have in the front yard. And I got all those little seeds that are popping up. Cucumbers, you can see I put a 2-liter, cut off the top and bottom, put it around the plant, and I think it helps. The plants that have the 2-liter around it have not been did not have the leaves eaten off the top. So anyway, try again, but it looks like I'm going to get some cucumbers. So we're in the backyard, and I had this container totally empty. So from overnight and this last rain, there seems to be that much water. And that's from this small roof. I think the roof is maybe 10 by 10. I'm not totally sure. But anyway, so it collects in these two trash cans. They're 45-gallon trash cans, or 44-gallon. Now look, these collard greens, I think they're Georgia collard greens, have really put on color in bulk. And the cucumbers are coming along. And even my peach tree that I cut back to extremes is starting to put out some foliage. So there's one cantaloupe in there, and I don't know, 6, 7 small cucumbers. We'll see what happens. My wheelbarrow garden, you can see, look at that. They're covering up my mint in the middle again. So I should take some of those leaves, and something's really been eating on that kale. Look at that. And this is my backyard onion patch. I think these are Allison Craig onions. I don't get as much sunlight in my backyard. I get some though. And you can see some of the green beans in there. Can you see them? So I had taken a handful of green beans from some of my plants in the backyard. Another watermelon. We'll see what happens. Now this squash is doing well, and at 3 o'clock in the afternoon it's getting full sunshine, so it's kind of an interesting window when it gets sunlight. I mean, it gets different degrees during the day. Of course right now it's overcast, so I can't really tell if there'd be full sunlight on it or not. But it's doing well. More cucumbers. Now these are, I picked one zucchini. There's it looks like there's one small one here if we wanted to pick it in the next day or so. So there's a couple of squash on there and quite a few flowers. Cantaloupe and some tomatoes, potatoes, and this is the butternut squash, and there's another one of my marigolds. And I have a few marigolds up over here. I saw them earlier. There's one right there. Now that's a real marigold. It's awful small, but it's there. And then I have a nice little marigold there. And then I have one right there. And well, there may be one more out here somewhere. I'm not seeing it at the moment. I was out here earlier trying to count them, because I was thinking, how many marigolds do I have popping up? So, and then I have those little ones I'm starting. So I'm going to put marigolds all over the place once they come up. Well, that's how things are looking. Well, I hope you enjoyed the update. I'll probably go around and do some other update. I will say that the squash has come on. I've already picked a few squash and started to eat them. I have seen a few green tomatoes, and I think the cherries are done now, but I have a whole bunch in the fridge and in the freezer. So actually I've had a bumper year for me on my cherries. It's been amazing. Love you guys. Bye bye now.